Hey, my name is Ben. Thanks for stopping by. Today, Naomi, my beautiful wife, is going to be featured in how to not cut in walls like Ben Sahlstrom. Anyway, she's quite skillful at it, and we just have a few tips
for cutting in ceilings and accent walls. So there's two places you're gonna find yourself cutting in, and you always see tape, but tape doesn't work perfectly, and if you're careful with a brush, you can do just as good a job or better. So we're first gonna start cutting in the ceiling, and then I'm also gonna show you how to do an accent wall, which is what we're doing here in the dining room with red. And accent walls are super in and popular right now. Usually it's a darker colored wall. Over there we have our living room, darker gray and antique silver as an accent wall, and then opposite we're doing this red in the dining room. So accent walls are popular, but you've also got this problem in the corner. You have to somehow make a straight line, and we're gonna talk about how to do that today and get the best effect. Okay, so before you start, you wanna make sure you have some things ready. You want a ladder that gets you up tall enough. And a ladder is kind of a no-brainer, so you might wonder why I'm mentioning this. But the point is, you don't want to be reaching really far. You want to get your face really up close so you can see what you're doing. And see how close, and smell it. And be right up there. That's a lot better. You want a brush that you feel comfortable with. And this might be an angle-tipped one. It might be, we've cut in successfully with a 3-inch wide flat brush is fine. I like ones with soft, silky bristles is kind of my preference. We use cheap ones because then you can change them out every paint color. You can use an expensive one and wash it. So we've got a ladder, a brush that you feel comfortable with, a smaller container for your paint so that you're not risking your whole bucket of paint while you teeter on top of the ladder, and then a bucket with water and a clean, wet rag. The damp rag is just for in case you make any mistakes. When the paint is wet, you can quickly and easily wipe it off of the ceiling or something and start over. So you do want that as your backup. Okay, we're gonna start in the corners, and I've got paint on my brush. So the first thing is you just wanna dab some of the paint off of your brush in both directions. This is the wall I'm painting. And then for the corner, you just splay out your brush like this and you shove it in. And this is the most difficult part. Now I've got to be careful because on the left here I'm hitting the wall. That is where I'm going to be making my line here to cut in a minute. And now I'm going to go up like this to see how exact of a corner I can get. And red happens to be a very dark color. And then I gently start moving down the wall. Whew, and that is as good as my corner is going to get.
And that is when you don't want to be talking to Naomi or asking questions.
I can get a little, snappy when I'm concentrating super hard. Okay, so now we're gonna do the ceiling and paint on the brush again. So we're just gonna make sure we get some of it off there so it's not super thick. And then this way we have paint over here that our brush slides nicely against, and we can kind of shove up to the wall when we get there. I'm getting a little more on my brush. Okay, and now we're just gonna kind of push it up here. Again, we're hitting in this corner. So let's see, a little too much paint. Wiggle it. And now I'm gonna do something that seems a tiny bit odd, but in the end it looks better. If you actually go just a touch on the ceiling, probably 1/16 of an inch would be your goal. And the more you can slide it in one even, I think I went out of the camera view, but no worries. Yeah. The more you can slide it in one even line, the smoother and more even the line is gonna get. Okay, so that was one brush worth of paint. we're gonna do another one. So we're gonna add our paint to the wall here, and this is cutting in for the ceiling again. And now you'll notice here we have a problem. If we go up to the wall, we're gonna leave a little like V. So the key is to come back to where you already cut in and back far enough that you catch your straight line and you continue it on. And if there's, this is a flat or a smooth wall and a smooth ceiling as well. Neither one is textured. So there might be a kind of a crack with the drywall right at the ceiling. And what I like to do is go right, cover that crack. If there is a hairline crack, it's gonna be right in between the two. So you're actually gonna go onto the ceiling a tiny bit, and that's okay, because then when you stand back in your room and you look at the wall, it will look like a straight line because it'll be the ceiling line. And the only way to see actually like what your line looks like is if you stand right up close to the wall and look straight up, then you'll see, a little bit. So
a little bit of variance.
Yep, yeah. A little bit of variance. And you'll see that more with this when we cut in the wall. So now we're gonna move to the corner here, cutting in the side for an accent wall. And this is really tricky. I think it's harder than the ceiling, and I don't really like doing it that much. But we'll try to get a really straight line. Okay, so you have two options when you cut in a wall, and I do have a preference, so I'm gonna tell you that at the end. But you've got down here, up to about here, I did an example. I just painted on this wall. I did not go at all on the corner. And so when you stand back from the room and you look at it, you can see, depending on how straight your line was or wasn't, you kind of see it wobble along there, because you're in the center of the room a lot. Versus if you paint just onto the edge a tiny bit, or this also goes for the ceiling like I was talking about, then you've got it so that when you stand back from the accent wall, it looks like a perfect line with the edge of the wall. Now, if I come right close to the wall and I look at it, this is when I can then see how straight my line was or wasn't there. But since you're most of the time in the center of the room, you want to paint for that. So that's my preference, that actually this leaves too much of a gap, and I need to go right into the corner and a tiny bit over. So I'm just going to...
More like this up here.
Yep, more like that there, and then
instead
of like that. Yep, because there my line doesn't look as nice. Okay, so I'm just gonna get my paint here. This is for a vertical wall cutting in, and we're gonna take it right to the corner and just a tiny bit, let my bristles just slide down the other wall. I hope it looks good. That's as good as I can get it. Smooth lines sliding. And alternatively, I could run my brush like this way and also make a line.
Seems like it doesn't quite cover as well, though, on average, as doing it the other way.
Yep, sometimes it's a little bit harder to get the control of the brush that way. So...
Beautiful.
there we go. That is how to cut in an accent wall, or to cut in next to the ceiling.
Anytime there's a transition in color, really, that's on a corner.
Yep.
So,
Thanks for watching.
talk to you in the next video. Subscribe down below for more videos. Usually it's me, so if you want to see her, you can comment down below and request that. Otherwise, yeah. Now just spend a lot of hours cutting in, and yeah, you'll be good to go. I'll show you a couple places that we've already cut in, just real quick. Here's some in the upstairs bathroom. Kids' bedroom. Couple accent walls in here. One for the girl and one for the boy. Thanks again for watching. Talk to you later.